Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright. Just about to get some sleep right now. But listening to the Keministy brothers talk basketball about the Lakers, and you know me, I always turn on the camera at random. You never know when I'm gonna turn it on. Talk about the squad too. But I think if I could say anything at all, I'm just very pleased with some of the things that I'm seeing the Lakers do in regards to just getting us some ready-made players to go. Skylar Mays, pretty excited about what he can be for us. I got to temper my expectations because it's not like he's going to come in and be a 30-point scorer or something crazy like that, but he's shown me that he can get others the ball and hit his own shot. And when you have a player who can do those things, you really can find yourself not relying upon D'Lo, Austin, and Bron to be facilitators. In theory, I mean, everything's contingent on how Darvin uses the team. We get that, but I just love the idea of bringing another pass force point guard, because now we can move point guards if necessary. If we want to move D'Lo, we don't have to necessarily bring back a point guard, in theory, because if Skylar plays the way he's been playing, he should be able to take over some of that role, get other guys the ball. We don't have to have a facilitating guard come in. It more or less doesn't stranglehold what type of trade returns we can receive. Because if you're trying to go after a guy like Zach LaVine or Bogdan Bogdanovic, if you're moving D'Lo, you really need that facilitator, in my mind. So I don't want Austin to do it. Even though I like him as a starting point guard at times, I think he's more of a 2. And I want him looking for his own shot. I want him to be able to do combo things, like a Bron on the offensive side. Rebound, get your 3-point plays, because he loves to play through the whistle. And not really thinking about, did this guy get the ball? Do we have enough continuity going on? No, I don't want him thinking like that. I don't want Bron thinking like that. And I want to be able to move D'Angelo Russell. So I can't count on Jalen just yet. I suggested a few days ago that we send him to the G League. They sent him to the G League. I'm thrilled with that. But then they brought me a point guard who I'm also thrilled with in Skylar Mays, who can not only fill in those boxes, but give me a guy who I think is going to double in value in our uniform. He's 26 years old, so he's not anyone we have to wait on. He's already been through his development process. Now he's waiting for his turn. And I love the idea of that. And then just the Dylan Winsler piece, energy. You know, listening to people talk about our team lacking energy. Looking at how sometimes we can be a bit fair weather as it pertains to whether or not we want to show up for certain games. If it's a big game, we show up. If it's not, our energy can be a little lackluster. This guy is going to gobble up boards. And I truly believe LeBron James feeds off of people who provide energy. You know, I was just saying to myself earlier today, if he played with somebody like Allen Iverson, he'd probably never lose a game, because he's going to feed off of Allen Iverson's fire. And Allen Iverson got the type of personality that's going to welcome him in such a way to where he's just going to feed off of Iverson's energy and overall aura. So that's what I think Bron has always needed. And I don't think AD's like that as it pertains to leading the charge. I think AD is too a complimentary personality to where he going to feed off of what the big dog's doing. So for me, it's like, who's going to provide energy to this team? Obviously, a Vando can do that. We were hoping Russell Westbrook would do that last year. You know, a guy like Patrick Beverly provided that to a degree, but you kind of want somebody at that forward position who can hit the 3, which Dylan Winsler should be able to do, and somebody who's capable of getting 33 rebounds in one game, which means they're coming with energy. I haven't seen them play, but you don't pull down 33 boards unless you're rabid about grabbing those boards and beating others to them. And so I think, in theory, Dylan may be somebody who can upstart the energy on the club, provide some energy where there otherwise isn't any in certain situations. All of that, again, is contingent upon playing time. And with Darvin, I'm not really sure what to expect there. But I like the idea of what it is we can do with these pieces. I worry to a degree about what happens with Darvin as it pertains to using these pieces, because at the end of the day, you can bring all the best stuff to you, but if Darvin doesn't see the vision, then they're not gonna get the playing time. But I see the vision. I understand what you want these two pieces to do, and if you utilize them, in the way that you're supposed to, you're probably going to end up seeing other players not be so contingent upon playing well, and they get to develop a little better on the team. Your Max Christie's, Max Lewis's, some of the other guys, Vanderbilt. You don't have to lean on them so much to be who they need to be for you to succeed, because you have some 27-year-olds, 26-year-olds who are coming in, who are slightly more seasoned, who should probably make their life easier if utilized correctly over the course of the season. Now, my understanding with Dylan Winsler is because he's coming in on a two-way, and maybe Skylar as well, probably, but they're coming in on two ways. There's going to be some limitations on how we use them as it pertains to what games they could play. Will they be available for the playoffs, stuff like that? There may be some limitations, so that's something to temper our expectations about as it pertains to just them being able to play with the team outright. They will have to be sent to the G League to fulfill their duties as two-way players. But all in all, the elements they bring to the floor should help us, not only as it pertains to the roster itself, as currently constructed, but also provide us a bit more roster flexibility as it pertains to what type of packages we can send out and what we can bring back without needing to do more than what otherwise teams would be offering us in trade. So if we don't get a point guard and we do send D'Lo out, we have our answer for who's going to play that position in the event that we can't bring one back. So I like that. I needed that. And I wasn't sure we would be able to get a point guard, and I wasn't sure if teams wouldn't try to dock us knowing that we had that problem. You know what I mean? Because if I could see it, and I talked about it a lot over the last several weeks, then I'm sure opposing GMs see it, and anytime you ask for an opposing point guard, they're going to try to hold you accountable in price for that need. So that's a real thing, man. You bring in a guy like Skylar, you know what he can do. He's done it as of late. It ain't like you had to go back 3 and 4 seasons to see him succeed. He was playing ball at a high level just 3 weeks ago. And so I'm thrilled about that particular pickup. And I'm hopeful he can stick with the squad, man. I'm hopeful this could be a long-term success story, us picking up these two guys as two-way guys and then them turning into something that we need, that we're able to use regularly, even past this season. Especially Skylar. I think he's going to be a real player in this league. Max Christie. I don't want to lose Max Christie, man. I don't know that we can make a legitimate trade for a legitimate piece without. And I don't want to skip around and skip ahead of myself, but I just want to say that from what I just read, the Cavaliers may be looking to try to get something in return for Donovan Mitchell instead of letting him walk. I don't know what his contract situation looks like, but that's been the report that I just read about an hour and a half ago. Take it for what it's worth, but the point is, in that situation, you're definitely losing Max Christie. You're going to lose Austin Reeves. You're going to lose Rui Hachimura. You're going to lose D'Lo. You're going to lose everybody, man. So I'm saying to you guys, if we can find a way to keep Max Christie out of those trades, I'd be pretty happy with that. Now, you guys know I complain about something that I've never heard anybody else complain about in regards to Max Christie, and that's how bad of a passer he is. I'm the only person that talks about this. But even with that being his deficiency, I think he provides so much good in so many other areas that I like the player a lot, and I'd love to see him grow in our system. In fact, that's one of the only real deficiencies I see in his game. It's two, actually: passing and ball handling. But I think ball handling could be shored up over time. He may not ever turn into Iverson or Kyrie or nothing like that, but he can improve his dribble quite a bit. And I think he's such an intelligent player that he knows what his weaknesses are. So he'll work on them over the course of the next several years, barring any injury issues that set him back. So in my mind, a guy like Max Christie should probably be a keeper, because you let him go to an Atlanta, you let him go to Cleveland, and he's going to turn into a hell of a role player. Maybe not a superstar or nothing like that, but a better version of what he is now for them, and probably somebody who can help win some games. Now, there are other guys out there who you could see playing that role, but not too many are going to be his age, coupled with his ability shooting the ball, for which I think will improve as well. And the athleticism is clearly there. The marketability with him looking like Kobe's kid. I mean, all of that, I think, is just a reason to keep him close to the chest if you're the LA Lakers. You got him in the second round. He's a success story for our development crew. So if we can keep him out of these trades, I think we'll be happy, man. Homegrown Lakers like Max Christie and Austin Reeves, I think we've done a good job with those two. I would love to see the Lakers try to make whatever improvements to this roster without moving on from guys that we drafted. Rui Hachimura, obviously we drafted D'Lo, but unfortunately, to make salaries match, you just automatically expect them to be gone. It's not even about whether you want to keep them or not. It's just about making sure you get back the right package, because at the end of the day, you're not going to make any real trades without Rui, I don't think. It would be nice if Gabe Vincent was healthy. Maybe that could help. But I don't think it's realistic that we move Gabe Vincent in anything meaningful. You may be able to move him, but it ain't going to be in getting back nothing special. I doubt that. He would have to go with a combination of Rui and D'Lo in order to probably even be desirable for most teams. So, that's a thing for me. I just think that Gabe Vincent injury really, really set us back horribly as it pertains to what we can do as a team with trade packages and stuff like that. That really sucks that he's not healthy, man. But, all in all, it may cost you a Max Christie because of that. It may, given the fact that you can't just move him outright. So, if we're going to go after Donovan Mitchell, then I wouldn't hold back nothing, man. You owe it to Bron and AD to bring them a player like that. I don't think a star is necessarily what you chase, as I said earlier in the previous Laker video. I don't think it's the smartest thing in the world to just assume that you need a star to make this happen, because obviously we won in the bubble without another star attached to these two. But you're not bringing in Donovan Mitchell just to complement Bron and AD. You're bringing in Donovan Mitchell because he could be the next jersey you're putting up in the rafters. He would be his own entity for the LA Lakers. So that's really what that's about. He's somebody that you value quite a bit. So I don't think you hold back too much when it comes to getting Donovan. But I don't know that you can also win a trade war for him. In fact, I'm pretty damn certain the New York Knicks would outbid you quite easily. So with a few other teams. So as far as us getting Donovan Mitchell, I think it's a very long shot. But I don't expect the Lakers will not be in that conversation. Put it like that. And you never know. Donovan may desire to come to LA. Although I think New York is where his heart's at. But just the same, you could see Brooklyn get involved, and so are some other teams as well. Hell, maybe even Utah might want to bring him back someday. Who knows? But the point is, he's gonna have suitors. Miami definitely gonna get in that mix as well. So he's gonna have suitors. But the media is gonna try to funnel him here. I can tell you that right now. And that's why we should just stay on alert that not everything is realistic. But then again, they told us Bron and AD both weren't realistic either. And when you consider the fact that we have both of them, anything is possible, and they are one hell of a draw as it pertains to if you want to win a championship. You feel pretty good that you can win one with those two. So that's also a good reason to believe that a guy might choose to come here. So Atlanta Hawks fans, been paying attention to them. They lost again tonight. They're miserable. they are ready to move DeJounte Murray and everybody else not named Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, as previously mentioned. I think it's a good chance we might get involved with a trade with them, man. Hopefully it's not for Clint Capella's contract, because you guys know I'm a Clint Capella fan, but not attached to a bad contract. But DeJounte, Bogdan, definitely excited about any possibility of them dudes becoming Lakers. And, another trade that would probably cost you Max Christie. I don't think I'm sending Austin Reeves over there at all. Probably keeping him out of any trade like that. But, it's one of those situations where we expect our GM to get involved in something because he brought back 2 prospects that should give him some cushion in sending guys out. And that is really what Demoy Hodge and Fudge were not able to do, because they're not ready and won't be ready anytime soon. Sending out the trade package that we otherwise want for those guys makes our team significantly less deep. I could argue that you do have that problem with Skylar Mays and Dylan Winsler coming in, although I haven't seen Winsler play. I don't know. But with Skylar, you brought in a piece. So definitely excited about I'm excited about what he can be. Hopefully Darvin Ham can help me stay excited by actually using the piece properly. But that's where it stops, unfortunately. Everything stops at Darvin, man. And I encourage everybody to check out my Laker video earlier where I talked about just where I think we are in regards to Darvin Ham and what I'm frustrated with, what I hope I can see in change in regards to him. Got into it in depth walking down the street a little earlier today, and it's always one of those situations. It's like, okay, we got this piece, but is Darvin going to use him right? Is Darvin going to use him at all? Is he going to be sitting for a week? Is he going to be playing out of position? And I just hate that feeling. I hate that feeling. I want Darvin to not be like that, honestly. I just, how else can I put it? I want Darvin to not be like that. And so hopefully with what's ahead, we can see traditional roles being given to players, man, especially new ones that we're bringing in. However that goes. I just want to see guys be in positions to succeed. And, it's rare when I see that. I think he's done a good job with Anthony Davis. Anthony definitely looks great. There's certain players that really play well consistently under Darvin Ham, but I think AD would play great under my tutelage. You know what I mean? It's Anthony Davis. So what is that really saying? The point is, a lot of the players on this team don't look good under Darvin, and we would like to see Darvin improve. Just improve. And then however that looks, hopefully it leads to some wins, man. I'm trying to think of the guy's name that I just saw his podcast, but he was essentially saying the same thing I said, which was in the Memphis game, it appeared to me that the Lakers were kind of taking their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter with the intentions of possibly trying to get their coach fired. And, I didn't see that against the Clippers, but I'm concerned that we may see that against the Toronto Raptors. See, nobody wants to actually lose to the Clippers. Not players, not fans, Genie, nobody, because it's a legacy game. It's a pride game. If you're going to be a Laker, you got to come through and take that game seriously. Bron's been here for, 7 years now? Something like that. He knows better than to just wing it against the Clippers to force a coach out. You don't do that against the Clippers or the Celtics. You can do that against anybody else. But those games, we really, really want to win those games at all costs. So I think, if I'm being respectful when I say this, that's why you saw the Lakers try so hard against the Clippers. Because at the end of the day, you ain't trying to lose to those guys. Not while putting on this uniform. So it might be business as usual afterward, because I've really seen the team quit, man. I don't like putting it in those terms, but New Orleans. What else? What were the other games that we played? Obviously, Memphis. I didn't see it. I just didn't see the passion. Miami. I didn't see a certain cohesiveness that I'm used to seeing from this club. Interactions with the coach didn't seem like they were, plentiful to me. And I just think that even if there wasn't a problem, the reports have kind of created an environment for which problems are kind of now in place, it seemed to me. And I don't expect that those problems have gone away just because we won the game against the Clippers, for which everybody should have collectively wanted, regardless of what the agenda would be. So I'm worried about tomorrow. Play the Toronto Raptors tomorrow night. I think it's 7:30, I believe it is. Quickly, Barrett, Scotty, Pascal, who could likely be on the move extremely soon. Reports are that he was so close to going to Sacramento tonight, but told the Kings that he would not resign with them, so they pulled out the deal. But he could be on the move. Where to? I don't know. Could the Lakers be involved for Pascal Siakam? Not reasonably. No. I'm going to say no. Why? Because he's a 4, and we have trouble playing 4s as is. When he coming off the bench? You're not moving Bron to the 3. You're not moving Pascal to the 3. You're definitely not moving Pascal to the 5. So there's no role for him here, unless you plan on doing something that should not be done. Put it like that. So I think the landing spot for him is everywhere but LA, to be honest with you. I hate to tell those who may want Pascal on this team, but unless he's willing to accept a bench role in a year where he's trying to get paid, yeah, no, that's not happening. He's expiring anyway, so he's going to cost a little too much to make that happen. But I'll tell you a dark horse place for him, without kind of making this a video about him. I think the Philadelphia 76ers could be in play for him, man. They could give up that Tobias Harris contract, which is also expiring, and send Pascal to go play with Joel. And I think that could be dangerous when you consider those three. Not to say that Tobias Harris isn't having a fantastic year, because he really is. But Philly probably, well, I don't know if they want to re-sign Tobias Harris or not, because to be honest with you, last year I heard they actually would want to re-sign him at the end of this year. But I think if he does get moved, obviously, then they had no intention of doing so. And if I'm assessing players from afar, I think he's an upgrade. I think Pascal's an upgrade from Tobias Harris. So I think that's a dark horse place to send him, man. You put him next to Joel Embiid, takes pressure off Joel Embiid to be healthy for every game, play 40 minutes every game, all that different stuff. I think that you may be giving him the trophy. You put Pascal in that uniform. But anyway, I'll get back to our situation. The point is, we're going to be seeing him tomorrow if he doesn't get traded. And I think it's a good chance he may actually get traded tomorrow before the game. So just keep an eye open for the Toronto Raptors, regardless of what. They're playing great ball. And, they were bike riding today in Santa Monica, bonding and all that stuff as a team. So I expect for them to come in at the complete opposite of us, on a string, loving life, loving being on the team together. RJ's home quickly seems to be taking extremely well to Toronto. I just expect for them to come in playing loose. And that's the type of game where you come into it, if you're a team that wants their coach gone, playing against a team that's playing as loose, and probably lose by like 20 points. I kid you not. So I'm not speaking ill on the whole situation in regards to the Lakers, but I just seen this movie a million times, man. And like I said, this is a team that made trades for people that just beat us a couple weeks ago. Guys who led their team to beating us. And that's another thing. The Knicks traded away 2 guys that were literally the Laker killers. And so we got to see these guys again very soon. And unfortunately, I could argue they're an even more fitting team for their pieces, so to speak. They fit better on this team than they did New York. So, yeah, man. I don't know, Darvin. It's looking bad, bro. I guess that's what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way. Going up against Toronto tomorrow, it's looking bad. Even though we just beat the Clippers, I don't think that's going to be the same energy we bring into this basketball game. I just don't. I think this team is checked all the way out. I think they show up when they need to show up. And when you have a game like the Clippers, you might as well have been a tournament game. You know what I mean? It might as well have been a tournament game. But tomorrow will not be that type of vibe for this squad. And if they really are checked out with this coach, tomorrow's a game that they probably ain't going to really play as hard as they probably would if they were buying into what they were doing. So that's just what I'm just preparing my Laker fans, man. I did a little homework on the Toronto Raptors. Of course, I'm going to have a video for you tomorrow on that game. And we'll be watching tomorrow night as we always watch. But I just don't have high hopes, man. I don't have high hopes. I know that this team is checking out. I feel it. And listening to the podcast with the gentleman whose name I can't remember right now. I'm sure he'll come back to me when I'm off this video. But listening to him, he was the other person who basically echoed my sentiments in regards to what we saw. It just looked like a team that kind of cool on their coach and feels like if they lose the right games the right way, he probably gonna be out the door. So that's really what it comes down to, man. I hate to agree with stuff like that, but at this point, I just kind of see it too, man. I kind of see the writing on the wall, and I think Darvin sees it too, man. But what he has to do is try to win guys back over, and we talked a lot about that in that video that I want you guys to check out. So I won't get into that anymore. But yeah, man, LA Lakers, bro, I tell you, we really do have a large, vast, I guess, difference between what we can do on one night and what we can do on another. And I think that we can go anywhere from a championship to having the first pick overall in the draft, man. We really could. It's that bad. Not to say that we would actually keep our pick, because of course we all know that goes to New Orleans. But it is what it is. I don't know if the Lakers need to make drastic changes with the roster, but I definitely think that if the team is checked out and the coach isn't using the team correctly, then you can find yourself in a situation where you're not going to reach your highest potential anyway, regardless of who's on the roster. So, when you bring in new players and you start saying, well, if the coach use them right, that's already a bad sign right there. This is a bad sign. So I don't know who you bring in to make the coaching situation happen if you do move Darvin, as we've said many times. But I don't know that you don't find yourself having the same type of problems just by holding on to him. So, yeah, that's just the reality of it, man. Anthony and Bron are playing too good of basketball right now to be holding on to a coach that isn't going to use the roster around him correctly. And, I think, I was listening to, I believe it was Swaggy P today, Nick Young on Gilbert Arenas' podcast. And essentially what Nick Young was saying is he expects the Lakers to make a trade before doing anything in regards to the coaching. He was more or less saying you got to see who the Lakers bring in to try to, assess if the coach they have is the wrong guy. And I don't know. I'm going to lean on his expertise in regards to that. But I just don't think we can go on a skid like what could be possible, especially since we're at home for most of the month. If we lose most of these games, I don't see Darvin staying put in his seat. It's going to start getting hot rather soon if it isn't already that way. So, yeah, man. See what trades the Lakers make. I know we're going to try to be active. I will be extremely surprised if we don't find ourselves active before the February 8th trade deadline, man. If I'm being completely honest with you, I'm going to be very surprised if the Lakers don't do something. Disappointed even, because I do believe we need to get better. And I just don't think I want to let Delos be on this roster for much longer, knowing that he could opt out at the end of the year. It's just lose-lose for me, man. The only way he doesn't opt out to get more money is if he played trash throughout. And so I'm cool, man. Or if he gets hurt or something, I'm cool. You send him out and make sure you bring back a piece, man. Now, I've been over the last 3 days, I've been on the Kyrie Irving train, man. And I know Dallas probably ain't interested in even listening to what I have to say in regards to this. But, he put up, 37 in the last game or something like that. He seems like he's happy in Dallas. I see God Sham God posting every every couple hours about Kyrie Irving, so they got a good thing going down there. But that was the initial thing that Bron wanted, was for us to trade for Kyrie Irving and just bring him the piece that he's already won with, man. And with Kyrie still capable of putting up superstar numbers, obviously, I just don't think it's the worst idea to do the original trade, Rui and D'Lo for Kyrie. I just don't think that's a bad decision. Now you come full circle from where we were to where we are. I think the answer is still Kyrie. I think it is. Now, granted, you want to be careful not to dumb yourself down defensively. Kai is not a defensive player, blah, blah, blah. But offensively, he's still got that stuff. And we need scoring. We need scoring, and you could use somebody that can break people down and hit a bunch of shots down the stretch of basketball games. Particularly, a specific goal for me as a fan is to see our team execute better down the stretch of basketball games. And listen to Gilbert Arenas, even though I think he's kind of satire when he starts talking about offense and not having any value for defensive players. I don't think he actually believes that. I think he does that for shock value. But I think that there is something to be said for his laughter when considering we only scored 106 points in our win against the Clippers. You know, we had to essentially keep them below 40% from both the three and the field just to win the basketball game. And if you think the Clippers are going to shoot that poorly against you on most nights, they're not. And, you know, it's one of the reasons why I gave Vanderbilt, the guy with the lowest stats, the player of the game yesterday, or gave him the game ball, is because I recognized that it was our defense that ultimately won us that basketball game. It definitely wasn't our offense, even though some of the players who played great were contributing more so on the offensive end. Guys like Christian Wood, Bron James, you know, they were contributing so much to the offensive end to where they probably deserved player of the game more so. But for me, it was like it was our defense that won the game because we didn't really score enough. That was essentially what I was thinking last night when I did that. And then listening to Jason Timpf, that's whose podcast I had been listening to and forgot his name. I referred to him a couple times in this video. But listening to Jason Timpf, he was essentially saying that it was our defense that was stellar, although our offense, according to the numbers, was stellar as well. We didn't do enough on most nights in terms of scoring to defeat a team like the Clippers. But if you have a guy like Kyrie Irving, that score is going to shoot up about 30 points, in theory. Now, how much your defense is going to suffer? I don't think it does if you don't get rid of the wrong pieces. Because you'll still have those dudes that did all the defense that ultimately helped you. You still have your identity of being a long team that can keep up with the lengthy shooters that the Clippers have. So that's why I just want to make a trade for a guy like Kyrie Irving to bring in the offense without giving up anything of length that I otherwise need. D'Lo and Rui, of course, I love Rui's length, but you know that'll get it done, hopefully. And maybe a Jalen Hood-Schifino if we have to throw him in, for which I wouldn't be pleased with, but to make Kyrie a Laker, I'd do it. So I think Kyrie's trade value's probably gone up as of late, given the fact that he's been playing well since coming back from injury. But I think if your smart money brings LeBron James a piece that he's already won with, that's really the key to all of this. You bring him a piece he's already won with. Dwayne Wade is retired. If Dwayne was still playing in his prime, then of course the main target would be Dwayne. But you want to bring in the guy who he trusts, who he knows can go. And I think that's a no-brainer. And plus, quiet is kept. There is no one better to help guys like Max Christie, Austin Reeves, and whoever else is on this team with their ball handling, man. You know, I want to see, not to say that they're ever going to turn to Kyrie, but there's a whole lot Kyrie can help them with in regards to their ball handling. And some of our players, they really need help in that area. Now, granted, we have, assistant coach that can really, really help with that. And I know he does a fantastic job as well. But it definitely wouldn't hurt to have Kyrie Irving next to him. Phil Handy. And from what I understand, him and Kyrie are close anyway, so that would be great. But that is Phil Handy's specialty is ball handling, and I definitely respect what he brings to the table. So I don't want nobody to think that I'm not aware of that. But nevertheless, I want Kyrie on this team, man. I'm a Kyrie fan. I know he can win. I know he can play with Bron. They can run some of the old stuff from Cleveland. And they didn't have no kind of Anthony Davis back with that team and won the championship. I can only imagine what they could do with a defensive anchor with him two scoring the ball. It takes a lot of pressure off him from scoring the ball. It creates a lot of space for all three of them having one another play off of. And it makes it so that players like Vanderbilt and Cam Reddish aren't expected to score as much because Kyrie Irving can take up so much of the scoring load and make life so much easier on those guys to focus on what it is they're good at. Pieces that I have a lot more value for than guys like Gilbert Arenas feels about those two. He thinks they scrubs because they can't score, but I know better. I don't subscribe to that nonsense. I value defensive players. I just know that you got to have the players right next to them that can help make up for this lack of scoring, which is why volume scorer is so important in the starting lineup. And I know a guy like Kyrie can do that. So, yeah. Everybody going after Zach LaVine's. I don't want that contract. And I just don't think he can perform like that right now. If I'm being real with you, Zach LaVine's coming back from injury. I don't know that he's going to perform like that this season. You know what I mean? You might get that for which we want from Zach next year. But this year he's playing kind of subpar coming back from injury. And I don't know he's going to get back into the swing of things to be that 40-point, 50-point, 8-3 scorer. Like, I don't know if he's going to be that guy. He looks like he's more so going to hover around 18, 20 points. I am not spending $40 million on a contract of a guy that's not going to give me no more than 20 points, fam. I can get those 20 points out of Austin Reeves. So I just think Zach LaVine is, I've said it a million times, he should be somebody that we absolutely stay away from, just like the rest of the league is, man. And if we get lucky, everything goes completely haywire with Chicago and they just feel they have to get Zach off their books, maybe they just waive him. And we can sign him outright. You know what I'm saying? Same thing I said about Chris Paul in regards to Golden State. I don't know why they traded for that man. I would have never traded for Chris Paul contract. All they had to do was just wait. Wasn't nobody going to take that thing but them. All they had to do was wait. They were going to waive that boy. They could have signed him. You know what I mean? And now look at him. He's out for, 6 weeks? With a broken hand or something, man. Some stuff is just like, yo, you don't sign up for crap like that. I look at the Chris Paul signing and the Zach LaVine trade probably as parallel mistakes, man. You don't do that. We know you don't do that. That contract is sitting there alone for a reason. Nobody wants that. And the reason why is because it's attached to a player that is likely going to get hurt, fam. Who's likely not going to perform up to no $40 million worth of player. He's not. Who is he? Who did Chicago think they were signing, yo? That's my question. And so for me, it's like, nah, I'm not even looking in the direction of Chicago when it comes to that contract. I don't want it on my books, man. I don't want to be double paying for no dude. That's not going to help us with what we need, more so than just provides a hypothetical answer for a need that we have. When I know I can get those same 20 points from some dude on somebody's bench right now. Just got to get a little creative, find who he is, and bring him to me. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not letting nobody talk me into doing that. That he's going to stay in that contract. That contract staying in Chicago until it's complete, as far as I can tell. That's like Gordon Hayward's contract. Ain't nobody touching that thing till he's free. When he's free of that money, he's been paid, we'll sign him outright as a free agent someday. And we'll welcome Zach LaVine with open arms on a $15 million contract. You know what I'm saying? But as long as he's at 40, man, stay over there, bro. Stay over there. I don't care how many people say, bring him here. No. If they knew what they were talking about, they likely would agree with me. So that's why I'm like, nah, I'm going with Kyrie, man. Kyrie don't even make that much. This man getting more money than Kyrie Irving. So yeah, no, I'm not even entertaining Zach LaVine's contract, man. Zach LaVine is being paid handsomely. And he is exactly where he should be for that. You know what I mean? Who paid him? It should be holding on to that contract, buddy. So nobody want to pay him money that should be going to players like Luka Doncic and freaking, Giannis and You know what I'm saying? That's how they paid him. They paid him like his name was one of them dudes. And so I'm definitely not touching that. And I don't think anybody else should either. So yeah, not to fit no positional need for this team just because we have trouble scoring. You think I can't get scoring no other way? You think I ain't creative enough to find those 25 points somewhere else? That's what I got to say to all the pro Zach LaVine people. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that, man. At any rate, I hope everybody's enjoying this content. I'm about to go to sleep, fall asleep while listening to it, of course. But I just want to chime in and give you guys some Laker content, man. I was really feeling it tonight, and I really like the Skylar Mays pickup. Definitely something I would have wanted us to do, and I wish I would have gotten on camera and said something about it as soon as he was waived. But after the fact, I can definitely give credit to Rob Pelinka and our scouts for just being on top of that, man. That's the type of stuff we're supposed to be doing. It makes sense. Get older guys. Get rid of these young babies that are going to take 100 years to develop. That is going to be well past Bron and AD out of here. Like, it makes no sense. So that's just what it is, man. I'm big on developing players. Don't get me wrong. But role players, developing role players, that's just not what mission we need to be on right now. So good luck to Alex Fudge and Demoy Hodge. I'd love to see them in the league for sure. But we just had different needs right now. And so bringing in these 26, 27-year-old guys makes all the sense in the world. And hopefully Darvin Ham can make sense of their pieces and use them so that we can be a better basketball squad. So looking forward to the Woj bombs, man. I want some trades. I'm ready to wake up to something big, and I'm ready to see somebody good in my team and not giving up anything that I'm going to be otherwise angry for giving up in order to get them. No Zach LaVine. BDL 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.